Look at that current. Holy cow. It is ripping.
Yeah. That was a new record high speed for pivot, 13 knots, which means we had 6 knots of current with us. We were flying.
There is quite a bit of action going on today. It's making sure that we're very mindful, cautious. This is an example of why it's so important to watch the lines. Yeah, now it's basically underwater.
I mean, I'm kind of worried that a tug or a barge is going to come near us and not going to see us.
Hi, we're Jen, Elliot, and Ollie. In 2019, we left the United States and backpacked through 11 countries, all before deciding to come back home and try something completely new, pivoting into boat life. Our current adventure is America's Great Loop, a 6,000-mile journey through small towns, big cities, and the wilderness from the eastern portion of the United States, through the Great Lakes and Canada, and down the Midwest rivers, all aboard our home on the water, Pivot. Make sure you subscribe as we share our journey through the highs, lows, and everything in between.
Today we are wrapping up the mighty Mississippi with one of my favorite type of cruises, a sunrise cruise. The anchor held up pretty well last night. The anchor alarm did go off a few times, but all is well as long as we can leave and we're not stuck in the mud. I don't think we dragged, but we have about 2 inches of water underneath the boat, so very shallow. 2 inches, you know, all you need is 1. I woke up a couple times last night. Not our favorite anchoring situation. A lot of it's what we did, but it's okay. Onward. Now normally I don't start the engine this early in our process, but today we have the Mississippi current out there right out of the channel, so we are probably going to need to be using some power on our engine soon. And so you don't really want to apply too much load to your engine when you just start it. You want it to be warmed up first, so this is that warm-up period. I'm interested to see like why our anchor didn't set last night, if we'll be able to tell now, because like I'm wondering if it's all soft mud. That would explain how I didn't have a really hard bite, and I should have just let it sink in a little bit more. Ready for me to pull it up further?
Yeah.
The anchor is a little bit muddy. You can see mud around the rim over here. And there's more mud. So now I'm using the wash down pump right here to wash it off. And this could take between like 1 minute to like maybe 5 minutes, depending upon how thick the mud is. And sometimes there's big clumps of mud that come up on the anchor, like the size of the anchor. So it just takes time and patience to like clean it off. It's no big deal. And then once I'm done cleaning this off, there might be a little bit of mud from the chain and from the anchor that had like dripped onto the deck. So I'll just quickly wash off the bow of the deck. Look at that current. Holy cow. It is ripping.
A little bit of fog this morning. barges, eh?
That one's 21 barges. That's one of the biggest ones we've seen. That could actually be the name of like a band, 21 barges.
This is the last bridge of the Mississippi River for us. Now the boat ahead of us, Stray Cat, who you guys have probably seen in a few vlogs, they're actually going down the Mississippi River the entire way because they've already done this section. So,
and I think they are the only boat going down the Mississippi River.
Definitely that we've heard of so far.
Yeah, well I also heard them on the radio that they have not seen any other boat on Nebo, AIS, or anything like that other than tugboats. So they really will be paving the way. Right now the Mississippi River has particularly low levels of water. So what that means is that anchorages are going to be hard to find if there's any water in them, and if they're big enough for their boat. So they have a fairly large boat. It's wide, it's a power cat, so...
But a pretty shallow draft.
But a shallow draft, yeah. I think they're 3.5 feet, but it's gonna be really interesting. We're interested in hearing more.
I think it's a pretty fun route to go because mainly, like, Mississippi has been really pretty so far, but they get to go to New Orleans, which is a place I've never visited and I want to visit. So that seems like a really fun destination for that side. We're going to be turning into the Ohio River. So all this current we've been getting, we saw a maximum, what, 13 knots?
Yeah.
That was a new record high speed for pivot, 13 knots, which means we had 6 knots of current with us.
Flying.
We were flying. I thought our fly bridge was gonna pop off. And the Ohio is gonna be against us, so we're gonna be going slower. Hopefully the current on the Ohio is quite a bit less than the Mississippi, because if it's 6 knots against us, like pivot will barely move. Like we can go faster than 6 knots, but not a lot faster.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5 down.
This part, like near the end of the Mississippi, it kind of just, it's a bend. And we've heard that in some of the tight corners, tugs will take up the entire channel. So we called out to this one. And there's another one. Oh my God, we're like so close to being done with the Mississippi, but it's like...
It's out of our kitchen window today. Also known as our galley. Look at the swell. It is so turbulent. Holy cow.
Like from where we are now in the barge in front of us, it looks like they have the entire channel. Like there is no room for us on either side. And honestly, it seems like I kind of have more room on his too, which is not port to port. Port to port is the one when you're coming the opposite way. But he said go on the one. So we're taking it nice and slow, basically letting him turn to kind of go the next little bit of the turn, and then we squeeze on the side. But there is not a lot of room, and that is a huge barge.
I think that's a 20 barge tug.
The reason why I don't like this is because, I mean obviously like you're close to barges, but the problem is that they can't really see you that well. If you have an issue, knock on wood, there's no issues.
Yeah, knock on wood.
If you have an issue, you got to get out of the way, and so that's, yeah. We just won't think about that.
No, we knocked on wood.
It was getting a little crazy down there around this last final bend in the Mississippi, and it's warmed up considerably, so we have come to the fly bridge. So much more visibility here. And we have one, basically, I think it's a dredge operation that we're turning around, and then it's the Ohio River. Woo! Crazy, 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 crazy.
Well, we said goodbye to our friends on Stray Cat as they go down the Mississippi, which is to the right. And we are going to be going this way to the left up the Ohio River. And that's the Ohio River over there. How cool.
We are now in the Ohio River, and now that we are going in the Ohio, we are going against the current, and we are traveling upstream. Now, the way the markers work is it's red on the right when you're traveling upstream, so our markers have switched. Instead of red being on our left, now we have red on our right, and we have slowed down considerably. We're going 5.5 knots. This is probably going to be okay for a while. This is you know, not as bad as I was thinking, so we're going to monitor it, and if it gets to 3 knots, I'll bump it up a little faster, because you're not on the Ohio River for that long. Wow, incredible.
Time don't make it no pleasure without pain, no love without heartbreak, perspective, reflection, same. When we were young, forever seemed the longest time. To our naive tongues and the trust in our hope-filled eyes. For all my days, for all my days. Now that I got
Today for lunch, we are having just some leftovers. Last night, actually like yesterday afternoon, I made some minestrone soup with kidney beans, cannellini beans, some like pasta, and I topped it with like a gremolata, which is just parsley, lemon juice, olive oil, and then we have some like bread that's it's like borderline stale, so I put a little bit of olive oil on it and like heat it up on the stove, so it doesn't taste as like stale, but you know, on a boat you make do.
We're in a little bit of a traffic jam here on the Ohio River. Like, we're at this like kind of narrow section of the channel, and there's work going on with like 3 tugging barges. Maybe they're not barges, they're 3 tugs moving around equipment. And I asked like, can we pass? And they're like, I asked again, and they're like, busy right now. So we're kind of just sitting. We don't really know who's in charge to tell us we can proceed, because we're only moving at like 4 knots, so it's not like we can just zip on past either. Apparently his radio was not working, and that's why he had problems responding, but he told us to favor the reds and we could probably beat this other dredge, so focus.
There is quite a bit of action going on today. It's making sure that we're very mindful, cautious, just trying to be safe, and we don't want to make the towboat captains mad.
time was told me we're scared the most of these things we can't control. No, oh, understand the folly of our own, that we dwell on our mistakes. The chances we're too afraid to take, they take their toll. Intellects won't save your souls. Indifference a choice.
And we are at our first lock of the Ohio River, which is the Olmsted Lock. Now this lock actually was replacing 2 other locks. So there used to be a lock 52 and lock 53, now there's not. Now it's just this one, which is nice for us, so we don't have to go and wait for 2 locks. So we're just waiting for the rest of the loopers. So we're gonna go ahead and head into the lock, tie off, and just kinda chill.
This lock is huge. There are 8 places to tie up, like from the front to the back, just on one side. So that is 16 places total. And there's plenty of width to raft, but man, this lock is massive. You just like look going down and it keeps going and going and going. It's crazy. So similar to the 2 locks that we traveled through on the Mississippi River, they both had this system where there's like a bollard inside the wall, so like not even just flush, it's like well into the wall. There's a high and a low spot for you to put your line. We put it on the lower one because the higher one is really, I can't even touch the top of it. So, and this bollard will rise up as the water inside the lock rises up. So we do need to stay here, maintain, be cautious, but as a whole though, it's really easy because this is just coming up with us. So Elliot will probably be either at our bow or our stern to kind of like fend us off, but it's a pretty easy system.
Oh, you helping?
Now, half the crew that left Little Diversion Channel today, it's not going through the lock. They are anchoring just before the lock. It is a long day. I mean, we left at daybreak, which was just before 7, maybe like 6:30, and it is currently 3 p.m. So, you know, that's already long, and there's still a few more hours to a solid anchorage on the other side. So, us, tug bustle, and change of pace, we are all kind of just pushing it to be a really, really long day, which for us really works out. I don't mind long days.
This is an example of why it's so important to watch the lines. So important. This bollard, this mechanism rose to the top. I heard it cling because it reached the tip top here, so it won't like continue going. And this bollard was getting, well, now it's
Underwater.
Yeah, now it's basically underwater. So what I did was I just had extra, like the extra line that's like on the boat, move it around here. So once I know it's safe on this bollard, and then I'm just able to loosen the other line a little bit, and it's already on here. So just another reason why it's so important to watch your lines.
Well, the sun has officially dropped and we are still cruising. That was sort of the plan. You know, we were kind of seeing how far we could go today, and this area in particular, which is in Metropolis, has like had like 4 or 5 anchorage symbols on Navionics, and it seemed wide open, like a lot of area off channel for possible anchorages. So that's why I chose for us to come here, because there's plan A's, plan B's, plan C's, you know, you get the picture. Well, we were gonna go to the dock, and it's still being used by the local fishermen, so I can't do that. It's like a boat ramp for the state park, and online it said you could stay there overnight if you get permission, but that's not gonna work out. So, and it's been kind of like a little bit freaky because there's these massive trees that we saw under the water, like poking out, like a deadhead on steroids. It was literally a tree, and there was like 5 or 6 of them over there, because that was our plan B, was kind of just putting the anchor down next to the boat ramp So we can take Ollie out easily. That's not gonna work out. So we're coming to the opposite side of the channel, the opposite side of the river, the Ohio River, and we're gonna drop the hook. That's fancy.
We have dropped our hook just off the channel and the Ohio River. There's a first for everything, folks, and when you're on the loop, there's frequently a first. So this used to be the old channel, was on this side of the waterway, and over there is where we came from. That's where the new channel is on the entire other side of the river. And it's pretty wide here, I mean like half a mile, so. I mean, I'm kind of worried that a tug or a barge is going to come near us and not going to see us, but what we're going to be doing is just turn on our spreaders and as well as our anchor lights. That way we're like a beacon. I think that should be fine. I mean, honestly, we are pretty close to shore, like, and we're really not sticking out like hardly any much further than the barges that are parked on the shore. So it's like they're not going to hit they wouldn't hit the barges, which are not lit up, so they shouldn't hit us. Hey, anchor's down and we still have some daylight.
Questionable daylight. And
Is
this
it daylight or is it nightlight?
This definitely could be another of our non-favorite anchorages, but we will find out. We won't make judgments until the end of the experience. But I've set my expectations accordingly.
From my perspective, we have set the anchor, which is a fantastic thing compared to last night where we just had the weight of the anchor in the ground, which we have a very heavy anchor and we had no wind last night. It was fine. So we set it really well, so we're not gonna be moving. The only questions is getting pushed into shore, which I don't think we have enough chain to even hit shore anyway, so that's not really a problem. But getting hit by a barge would kind of suck. Time to light up pivot like a Christmas tree.
So the barges can see us. So what that means is we're putting on our spreader lights, we're putting on our anchor light. Our anchor light is fine, but it's not enough for like a barge to see us. So putting on our anchor light.
I wouldn't want to just rely on the anchor.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to rely on the anchor light.
It's efficient, but it's not a great anchor light.
Exactly. So we're putting on our spreaders, which are very bright. And we'll see how this goes. Typical show and Joe fashion. We're working.
Work. We, thank you.
You're welcome.
We are running the generator tonight, not because we necessarily need to, although I kind of wanted to bump the batteries up a little bit because we're running the spreader lights, which are about 7 amps for us. But we just haven't run the generator in a very long time, and like any sort of mechanical equipment, it's good to be used, and so we've been trying to like make time to use it, and so it's a perfect occasion. We're not around any other boats, we're not disrupting any of our neighbors, so get that going. What do we have for dinner?
Mushroom stroganoff.
Mushroom stroganoff. Wow.
Oh, it smells so good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Love you.
Well, that is it for today's video. We haven't been hit by a barge yet, so check. We did get waked once.
Knock on wood.
Some, like, I think it was a small fishing boat blasted near us. And we've got a little, like, some other small wakes, but I think they're from way off in the distance, so.
Yeah.
we're lit up, but yeah,
and
everything should be fine.
The channel's on the other side of the river.
Like a half-mile away. It's a very long way away.
It's a very wide river, so hoping for the best.
Yeah. The Mississippi was so much fun and so beautiful, and I loved it. Some parts were stressful with the barges, for sure, but it was beautiful, and I loved that 3-knot current that went up to 6 knots.
That was crazy.
Awesome.
We were breaking records today.
Yeah. But tomorrow we are continuing our cruising down the Ohio River. It will not be a sun up to sundown cruise like today. We are only 6 miles from Paducah. It's literally right around the corner. But everybody's going to Paducah right now, so there's no openings, but we're on the wait list, and we may just anchor and dinghy over. That's always fine too.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you tomorrow as we continue cruising around America's Great Loop. So, with that,
I'll see southbound catamaran in front of you. Would you like me on the one or the 2? 2 is fine.
The tows will take
Pasta.
Now, I guess I should have stopped. Over there is kind of where we. Over there is where we came from. That's where the new waterway, the new whatchamacallit.
that would be the end of Show and Joe.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't be the end of Show and Joe. It'd be fine. No, actually, I don't know.
It would be the end.